This is the story of how my stepsister Anastasia Tremaine finally broke out of her mother's shell and helped me to fix my happy ending when she tried to take it from me, and how she finally found her own true love. It all began 2 years ago. For many years, Lady Tremaine and my two stepsisters, Drizella and Anastasia, had treated me horribly. The morning after the ball, my psychopath of a stepmother had now stolen the fairy godmother's wand, rewound my happy ending to the moment her troubles began, and used it to enlarge my glass slipper in order to fit Anastasia's foot. She feared that I could go after Kit, so she tried to preempt my efforts by altering Kit's memory to convince him that he danced with Anastasia. However, Anastasia was already starting to wonder if what she was doing was genuinely right. Eventually, Jack and Gus found me and explained everything. Jack and Gus recovered the wand, but not before Lady Tremaine uncovered me. "You're more persistent than I thought, Cinderella," said Tremaine. "I can't allow you to get away with this," I replied with a stern expression. "We already have," she replied smugly. "I don't think so, woman," I retorted. For the first time in my life, I was rude to my stepmother, and with good reason. I managed to recover the wand and almost managed to undo the spell, only to be narrowly caught by Tremaine. I managed to grace my hand over Kit, saying he was under a spell. "But of course she's lying. You're not under a spell, and I want that lying, thieving, insolent little madam exiled from the kingdom," barked Tremaine. But I think the prince must have known something was wrong. Anastasia looked on, now starting to feel guilty for going along with Tremaine. Kit, meanwhile, was escorted to see the mice, who explained the indoctrination job that had been performed on him by Lady Tremaine. He rushed off to save me from being banished, and nearly managed to board the ship that I was on. We touched hands, and the magic faded away. Our love had indeed become too strong for even magic. "Will you marry me, Cinderella?" he asked. "Yes, but actually it's Cinderella. I take it the mice told you who I was?" I replied. "Yes, they did," he responded, and we embraced. Unfortunately for both of us, the prince had been clocked by Lady Tremaine. Having realized the magic hadn't worked on him, she set about making one final-ditch attempt to land Anastasia with the prince. By now, having realized the prince truly loved me, Anastasia knew that we were truly meant to be from the beginning, and that she only wanted to be loved for herself. She wasn't even sure if she truly loved the prince, but she was too afraid to admit it, for fear of infuriating the rest of Tremaine's household. The king was informed of Lady Tremaine's terrible act and ordered the entire household to be arrested. Lady Tremaine used the wand to teleport the Tremaine family into hiding, just as the guards burst in. As I prepared for my wedding, Lady Tremaine and Lucifer emerged from the shadows, and then she summoned a visibly nervous Anastasia. Tremaine explained that she had reversed my happily ever after in order to land Anastasia with the prince, and said that the prince would be very happy living with the fake Cinderella that she had created, and he would have no idea it was Anastasia. She said that if Anastasia had taken the fairy godmother's wand because she claimed it would answer to their prayers, she could have a love of her own, and Drizella and Lady Tremaine could have riches and power. I was horrified by the very idea, and I knew Anastasia was feeling apprehensive about marrying the prince, so I tried to turn her over. "But, Anastasia, is this what you really want? To reverse my happy ending? To gain your own?" I asked in an effort to change her mind. "I want what you had," she replied, broadening her mother's malicious grin. I could see her nervously looking to Lady Tremaine, and realized something was definitely going through her mind. "But do you truly love him?" I asked, making one final effort to turn her over. I, she began to respond. Fearing I could change Anastasia's heart, Tremaine was quick to take action. She used the wand to teleport me into a twisted pumpkin carriage, along with Jack and Gus. She transformed Lucifer into a human and made him the driver. Tremaine's plan was to have Lucifer take the three of us to our doom. While Anastasia took my place, Jack, Gus, and I managed to conquer over the carriage and threw Lucifer off. "Bad kitty!" I growled, and he plunged into the river below. "What are you going to do, Cinderella?" asked Gus. "Well, I'm not going to miss my own wedding," I told him. I rushed back to my wedding, where Anastasia was about to be landed, or in Lady Tremaine's case, hitched with the prince. By now, having seen Anastasia's apprehension, I was starting to wonder whether she truly loved the prince, or whether she was being forced to marry Kit against her will. I was now feeling more willing than ever to take a stand against my stepmother. She may have used the magic to turn back the hands of time and undo my happy ending, but I was now going to fight to restore it. While I had yet to discover whether or not Anastasia truly loved Kit, I knew that there was something going through her mind. "Come on, Major, we're almost there," I encouraged him as we neared the palace. We could hear trumpets sounding. I knew by that signal that the wedding was about to start, and Anastasia would have to make the life-changing choice of either marrying the prince for her mother or giving it all up for me, and having to face the wrath of Lady Tremaine. "But what should we do if Anastasia doesn't love the princey?" asked Jack. "Well, if it turns out to be the case, then Anastasia doesn't love the prince. I'll definitely be in for a shock, and I may have to protect her from Lady Tremaine." I could see Anastasia nervously looking at her mother when I asked her if she truly loved Kit. I answered, "And if that isn't the case?" asked Gus. "If her desire for love is strong enough for her to say I do? I'll have to stop the marriage myself. In any case, we need to stop this wedding," I told him, and we passed through the castle gates.